Imagine a battlefield, thousands of arrows falling from the sky. Yet instead of chaos, a wall of shields moves forward like an iron beast. This isn't magic. It's one of the most legendary military formations in history, the Testudo formation, also known as the tortoise formation. In the 1st century BC, Rome was expanding across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Their enemies often relied on fortified cities and high ground to defend themselves, raining down arrows and projectiles on attacking forces. Roman soldiers were vulnerable while advancing toward these fortifications, so Roman tacticians created a formation that offered both mobility and near-perfect protection. The inspiration came from the shape of a tortoise shell, and the Testudo formation was born. A typical testudo consisted of 30 to 60 soldiers, though it could be larger. The front ranks held their shields upright to protect against frontal attacks. The middle and rear raised their shields overhead to create a roof. The sides angled their shields to block flanking arrows. The shields were locked tightly together, leaving almost no gaps. The formation advanced slowly but steadily. Every step had to be precise. One soldier out of sync could break the wall, which is why discipline was absolutely crucial. The Testudo formation, meaning tortoise in Latin, was developed during the height of the Roman Republic and perfected by the Roman Empire. As Roman armies expanded across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, they faced fierce enemies: archers, siege weapons, and cavalry. They needed a way to advance safely, and Testudo was the perfect answer. Soldiers stood shoulder to shoulder, their large rectangular shields, scuta, locking together. The front row formed a wall, the sides closed in tight, and the soldiers behind raised their shields over their heads, creating a roof. Arrows and stones would bounce harmlessly off this living shell. From the outside, the unit looked like a giant turtle, slow but nearly unstoppable. But Testudo was not just about the shields. It was about discipline. Every soldier had to trust the man beside him. Even a single mistake, a dropped shield or a gap in the wall, could cost lives. The Roman legions trained for years to master this maneuver. With hundreds of shields moving as one, they became a walking fortress. The Testudo formation was used during sieges and assaults. At battles such as those fought under Julius Caesar, Roman soldiers advanced under heavy fire, protected by their testudo. They could approach fortress walls, batter down gates, or cross open fields without breaking formation. It was a psychological weapon as much as a tactical one. Enemies saw not individuals, but a moving wall of death. The testudo formation was used during sieges and assaults. At battles such as those fought under Julius Caesar, Roman soldiers advanced under heavy fire, protected by their testudo. They could approach fortress walls, batter down gates, or cross open fields without breaking formation. It was a psychological weapon as much as a tactical one. Enemies saw not individuals, but a moving wall of death. The testudo formation was used during sieges and assaults. At battles such as those fought under Julius Caesar, Roman soldiers advanced under heavy fire, protected by their testudo. They could approach fortress walls, batter down gates, or cross open fields without breaking formation. It was a psychological weapon as much as a tactical one. Enemies saw not individuals, but a moving wall of death. The Romans didn't just build a formation, they built a living fortress. During their brutal training, Roman soldiers pushed the limits of the testudo to the extreme. Historical records mention that the formation was so solid and unbreakable that a horse could walk across the shields without bringing it down. Some accounts even claim that a chariot was thrown at the formation, and it still held firm. Imagine hundreds of soldiers standing shoulder to shoulder, their shields locked so tightly that not a single arrow or stone could break through. The testudo was more than a tactic. It was a symbol of strength, discipline, and unity at its peak. That's why this formation became a nightmare for anyone who dared to face the Roman legions. Behind that wall of shields are fragile human beings. The legendary Testudo formation of the Roman Empire may look like an unbreakable fortress, but it hides deadly weaknesses. The tighter the shields lock, the less soldiers can see or react. Any attack from the sides or rear can shatter the formation. Holding heavy shields overhead drains their strength, and the cramped space makes breathing difficult. Behind that iron wall isn't an invincible war machine. It's real men, vulnerable and human. Behind the iron wall of the Roman Empire, there was no machine. There were men. Men who carried shields heavier than their own fear. Men who stood shoulder to shoulder, knowing that their survival depended on the stranger beside them. Every shield in the Testudo formation was more than wood and iron. It was a vow, a promise to protect the man to your left, to your right, and to never break the wall. When the arrows rained down, they didn't just lift their shields, they lifted each other. And in that moment, they were not individuals. They were one living fortress, together. But what most people never see is the price hidden behind that formation. Inside the Testudo, soldiers could barely breathe. Their arms shook under the weight of the shield. Their eyes stared at nothing but the ground beneath their feet. A single slip, a single gap, and everything could collapse. This was not just a tactic. It was a test of human endurance, of trust, and of unity. And that's what made the Roman legions truly terrifying. Not their weapons, but their discipline, their bond, and their willingness to stand together until the end. History remembers the Testudo as an ancient tank, a moving fortress of war. But the real story is far more human. Behind that wall were beating hearts, exhausted bodies, and silent courage. Strength didn't come from iron, it came from unity. Power didn't come from the shield, it came from the people holding it. That is why Testudo is more than just a tactic. It's a symbol of loyalty, discipline, and the power of standing together. If this story inspired you, remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. History isn't just about wars, strategies, or victories. It's about people, their courage, their pain, and their legacy. And as long as we keep telling their stories, they will never be forgotten.